The Puck Portfolio with Andy MacNeil.
Hey, welcome to the Puck Portfolio. I'm your host, Andy MacNeil. I'm here weekdays to provide NHL projections, betting advice, and strategies to help you make informed bets throughout the NHL season. This show is sponsored by NorthStar Bet, which is now available across Canada. I'll be using NorthStar Bet's odds on this show. They offer early odds on the next day's NHL games and a whole lot more, so check them out via the link in the description below. If you enjoy the show, and I know you do, please like this video and subscribe to the Canada Sports Betting YouTube channel. It helps out a lot. On today's show, I'll be looking at Wednesday's three-game slate, but mainly I'll be focusing on Thursday's NHL betting odds. The theme of this show is to always be looking ahead. If you've been here before, you know why, and you'll get a little bit of an idea of why as I get into it. But Tuesday, it should have been a good night. With so much closing line value that was accumulated on Monday, my expected return on investment was looking pretty good versus the odds at game time, but all four of the bigger underdogs that I bet failed to get the job done. Credit to the Sabres for getting the game to overtime as plus 188 dogs, but it was a loss nonetheless. Thankfully, the Jets, the Coyotes, the Avalanche, they all won, but I still lost 2.1 units on the night, which means I'm now up 5.55 units on the season. Still pretty good results. Time to move on, though. As you can see, I've got my coveralls on. I've got my Carhartt hat on. I'm ready to get to work. Obviously, there are 3 games on Wednesday. We're going to get to those right away. 11 games on Thursday. I've got a bit of interest in those from a betting perspective. But yeah, let's talk about the Ottawa Senators and the Toronto Maple Leafs. It looks like Artem Zub, defenseman, will draw back into Ottawa's lineup tonight against the Maple Leafs. That'll help stabilize the Senators' defense. Joseph Wall is expected to start for the Maple Leafs, though. Toronto ranks 27th in the NHL in 5-on-5 expected goals percentage, 21st in goals differential. Do you really want to be laying minus 175 on this team right now? I know the Senators have been bad, but I sure as hell don't. Minus 161 is what the projection model thinks this game should be lined at. So the Maple Leafs price, in my opinion, and according to the model, is a little bit inflated here, and I'm not going to be betting on them. I will possibly bet on the Senators if the price gets high enough, but otherwise I'll be standing pat on this one. The Florida Panthers and the Washington Capitals. Forward Evgeny Kuznetsov will be a game time decision for the Capitals. Goaltender Darcy Kemper is expected to start for Washington. This is a bit of a tough one with Kuznetsov's status up in the air. I'm projecting him to start play in the game 50% of the time, so I am taking it into account a bit here. The projection model has the Washington Capitals as a plus 120 underdog, so I'm a lot closer to betting on the Capitals than I am the Florida Panthers. I will likely not be betting on the Florida Panthers. It'll be Capitals or nothing. I hope that's not the case, though, because I don't necessarily think this is a great matchup for Washington, especially if Kuznetsov is out. And arguably the biggest game of the night, or at least in my opinion, I think it's a big game because it'll obviously have a big impact on the division odds, among other things. The Los Angeles Kings at the Vegas Golden Knights. The Kings opened up around plus 118, now down to plus 110. At NorthStar Bet. I had started to have some interest in them around plus 118. Not enough to justify a bet, though. And of course, it's moved the other way, so I won't be betting on the Los Angeles Kings now at this point. But let's do a bit of a schedule breakdown today. I forgot to include the load column, silly me, but hey, look, there's the rest days. That'll tell you most of what you need to know here. We've got 3 games on Wednesday, some rested teams versus some tired teams, and some fresh teams in Vegas with the Kings and the Golden Knights both having 3 and 2 days off respectively. Yeah, it's going to be a good one, but there's a lot to take into account for Thursday's 11 game slate, but I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it because, hey, I factored into my projections. And speaking of which, let's get to those projections right now. You see there, Toronto minus 161, Florida minus 126, Vegas minus 117. Those are the projected odds for Monday's games. But let's start talking about Tuesday. We've got the New York Islanders at the Boston Bruins. Look, Islanders forward Bo Horvat missed Tuesday's game, a loss against the Minnesota Wild. Not sure what his status is heading into this one. I've got the Bruins right now projected at minus 182. They're minus 186 at NorthStar Bet, so no interest in this one right now. Might have a little bit of interest in the Islanders as much as I hate this team. But if Horvat's in, I might have a little bit of an interest in the Islanders at a certain price. But I'll have to make some adjustments there to find out what that price is. The Dallas Stars at the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, look, I'm a little more skeptical of the Dallas Stars than I was even a week ago. So I'm not surprised to see this one minus 174 in favor of the Dallas Stars, according to the projection model. And the sports books, they've got this one at minus 180. So not a lot of interest there for me either. The Montreal Canadiens at the Detroit Red Wings. Both of these teams looked awful on Tuesday night. I know because I lost a bunch of money betting on them. You probably did too. The Red Wings, I mean, I got in more invested in the Red Wings in game when they were down 1-0. Yeah, I lost a lot more money betting straight bets on the Red Wings plus 290, plus 305, plus 315. Yeah, I went a little bit too hard on the Red Wings, who I thought would come back strong in the second after a poor showing in the first against Jonathan Quick and the Rangers, but that was not the case. The Red Wings were awful on Tuesday in New York, and yeah, the same goes for Montreal on Tuesday in Montreal against the Tampa Bay Lightning. The game was pretty much over before it even started, so that one was a tough one to watch. But the projection model has the Red Wings at a 61% chance of winning. That equates to minus 156 on the money line. Currently, Detroit is minus 186 on the money line, plus 150 for Montreal on the other side. Now, intuitively, I think this could be a bad matchup for the Montreal Canadiens. Detroit, they can skate pretty good. They've got some ability to generate some quality chances off the rush. It might be a little bit tough for the Canadiens, but at the same time, I mean, I'm only able to work with the data that I have. Don't have enough data on things like rush attempts and whatnot to really factor that in all that much. So I think Detroit is one of those teams. I was actually talking to an odds maker friend of mine on Tuesday night during the game that about how Detroit is one of those teams that we probably would look at a lot more differently if we had some different data to look at. But currently, I mean, they look like a relatively mediocre team with maybe a bit of a higher ceiling thanks to their shooting talent and thanks to the goaltending of Ville Husso. But I think James Reimer could be in goal for this one, and that's why I've got the Red Wings projected so much lower than the betting market does right now. So keep that in mind. But no interest on this game at the moment. The Minnesota Wild at the New York Rangers. This is a rematch from last week when the Rangers blew a 3-0 lead and lost to the Wild in overtime. Igor Shesterkin, he's listed as day-to-day, but I'm projecting him to start just to be safe here with the Red Wings. If you think Quick is going to start, or with the Rangers, sorry, if you think Quick is going to start, maybe the Wild are a good bet at plus 145. The veteran goaltender has strong numbers, but he's 37 years old and he's been objectively bad for the better part of the last decade. And you know, once a great goaltender though, so he does have another gear, but come on, he's not Shesterkin. If you think the Rangers odds should be anywhere close to as good with him in goal as they are with Shesterkin in goal, you're right out of your freaking mind. And I don't know if we can have any kind of conversation because that's crazy. So I don't know what to tell you there, but it's going to be Wild or nothing if Quick is in goal. Otherwise, looks like there will be no bet. The Vancouver Canucks at the Ottawa Senators. If you haven't guessed already, look, I'm on the Canucks, and I'm gonna defend them a little bit here because, you know, I was hard on them heading into the season. I didn't think they were a playoff team. I didn't think they were one of the 8 best teams in the Western Conference, but they are. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? And I know they're riding some high percentages, but in defense of the Canucks and their hot start, they've made some big improvements here, specifically on defense. They went from the bottom of categories like shots against and expected goals against in the first 5 games to top 5 in those categories in the last couple of weeks, their last 7 games. So I don't think they're an elite team overall, but they're definitely better than people are giving them credit for right now. They're a bona fide playoff team. Ottawa, on the other hand, they've looked like one of the NHL's worst teams as of late. The Senators, they rank 29th in expected goals at 5-on-5, 26th in shot attempt percentage. Minus 110 is a good price to bet the Canucks, as the model says they should be at minus 121. I'm risking 1 unit flat on this bet, 1 unit at minus 110 on the Vancouver Canucks. And that is my first bet for Thursday night. Now, I told you all it was not fun betting against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't think they're a top tier team right now. They've got some elements of one, obviously. Nikita Kucherov, for starters. I'm surprised sportsbooks still have him listed at 18-1 to win the Hart Trophy. I don't really want to bet on the Blackhawks here, but at the current odds, I think it's Chicago or nothing. Right now, it's nothing. I've got the Blackhawks plus 215 according to the projection model. Plus 225 at NorthStar Bet right now. So there is some value there. I'd rather see if there's some more value later. I'm not going to run to this one. I don't think it's a great bet by any means, and it would be a small bet regardless. So I'm going to wait and see what happens here with the Chicago Blackhawks price. But here is my second bet for Thursday. It's the Arizona Coyotes. They're in St. Louis taking on the Blues. And I mean, this one is a little bit peculiar to say the least. Earlier this season, I bet on the Coyotes plus 138 on the road in St. Louis. They won the game. They dominated the game, really. It was a big bet, 1.5 units, and it closed at minus 104. So I was right on the money. So explain to me why now, after everything we've learned about these two teams since then, this was really early in the season. Why are the Coyotes being listed as a plus 123 underdog? That's crazy. So these two teams, they're just barely at opposite ends of the spectrum, but it's enough here to justify a bigger bet at plus 123 odds. I'm risking 1.5 units on the Coyotes at plus 123. They would be a half unit play at plus 110. No bet at even money. The Nashville Predators, man, they were a big reason why Tuesday was a losing night. They held a 2-0 lead at the midway point of the game, but instead of being aggressive, they sat back. They let the Flames come at them in waves. You could really feel it coming. You could feel that Calgary was likely going to tie the game the way they were playing, and they did, or at least make it close, and they did. But they did more than that. They scored 4 goals to win from behind, 4-2 in regulation. 3 days off for the Predators between their game in Edmonton and their game in Calgary apparently wasn't a good thing, and you'd expect a better effort on Thursday. But here's the kicker. At the current odds, I don't think Nashville is a good bet if it's Connor Hellebuck in goal, but I think they are a good bet if Laurent Brossoit, Winnipeg's backup goalie, gets the start, which is what some Winnipeg media members have been speculating will happen. So that's one to watch with the Nashville Predators. I would bet the Predators as an underdog here against the Jets if Laurent Brossoit is in goal, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Seattle Kraken, I've got a little bit of interest here. They're in Colorado taking on the Avalanche. Colorado, they bounced back after getting trounced 7-0 by Vegas. They beat the Devils 5-3. The Kraken lost in overtime to the Coyotes, thankfully. Plus 190, it's a big price, though, and I think the Avs should be a big favorite, minus 185 according to the projection model, but that means there's some value on the road team, just not enough to justify a bet here because there's only a 5-cent difference between plus 190 and plus 185, the model's projected odds. So no bet right now. The Penguins in Los Angeles taking on the Kings. Of course, this is going to be the second half of a back-to-back for the Kings. They're minus 121 according to the projection model, 54.8% chance of winning. Tristan Jarry, though, was hurt in Tuesday's game against the Ducks. I haven't updated my projection for that because we're still waiting word on his status. What's going on with him? Is he going to be out for a while? We'll see about that. And of course, we got to talk about the San Jose Sharks. Finally, they won a game. They beat the Flyers 2-1 in a game that they were pretty badly outplayed, but Philly had a few too many defensive breakdowns for sure in hosting the Edmonton Oilers on Thursday. And you know, the script isn't as good as it could have been. It could have been pretty great. We could have been watching some pretty great theater, but I think it'll be a pretty entertaining game nonetheless. So much pressure on the Oilers right now. So much pressure on head coach Jay Woodcroft. They waived Jack Campbell. Now it's Stuart Skinner, and it looks like Cal Picard getting called up to be Stuart Skinner's backup. So it'll be interesting. The projection model has the Edmonton Oilers minus 259 on the money line, and that is, well, pretty much where you see it at sportsbooks. NorthStar Bet minus 240 on the Edmonton Oilers. So a little too high on the Oilers apparently, and I'm not going to be sticking my neck out on this one. I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to be betting the Edmonton Oilers unless the price gets really out of hand. Only 2 bets for Thursday as of right now. I mean, some days I'm going to have a lot of bets. Like on Tuesday, I had 7 bets, and right now I've got 0 on Wednesday, 2 early bets for Thursday. Might have some more on Thursday, but regardless, I'll be looking ahead to Friday's NHL schedule, trying to find some early NHL betting value for Friday. So if you've enjoyed today's show, please like and subscribe to the Canada Sports Betting YouTube channel. And of course, follow me on Twitter at Digital Gambler. I provide updates there throughout the day. But if you enjoyed the show, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I'll see you all again on Thursday for another episode of the Puck Portfolio. Thanks for joining me.